All right, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, welcome back. It is I, Dave, the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people just like you right there. And this guy here. I know of no other band that has gotten sort of the short end of the stick as far as radio airplay, rock and roll Hall of Fame consideration, just general, I guess, acknowledgement of greatness. I know of no other band that has gotten sort of the shorter end of the stick than the band Triumph from Canada. I've wanted to do a Triumph video for a while. I've been doing various videos about bands that just don't get radio airplay like they used to. Classic rock stations, I just don't get it. I don't. Maybe it's just you can't play Triumph and the Allman Brothers. I mean, that's just goofy. Because I can listen to both bands. It's not gonna hurt me. Uh, this band had 10 just really great studio albums, and you know, their debut album kind of got them on the map, but it was Rock and Roll Machine, which really got me into them. I remember I had the cassette of that, and the 12-string guitars, the optimistic lyrics, the powerful vocals of Rick Emmett, uh, Gilmore's drumming. This was just, these guys were a powerhouse, okay? And it just got better. Progressions of Power came out, I remember, and I ran out and got that one. It didn't have as many radio songs on it, but we were playing it. Different places were playing it. Uh, Allied Forces is the one that everybody's going to remember for Magic Power. But if you look at all of the singles, and I think I was into all of these albums, even like Sport of Kings, where they went really kind of top 40 ish, added the keyboards, and it was much more pronounced, much more radio friendly, but the core of it was still there and it still sounded great. Uh, this is a band that had a number of singles that were released. Let me go through the list here. Hold On, Lay It on the Line, which again, why isn't that song on the radio? Lay It on the Line. It's just fantastic. I Can Survive from Progressions of Power, and I Live for the Weekend, which was a big hit. Not here in America, unfortunately, probably in Canada. And Fight the Good Fight is when you hear that opening part, sort of that slow, I think it's a keyboard part at the beginning, and then it evolves into that just kicking guitar and drum part. It's just such a good song. Obviously, Magic Power was on every cool compilation album from the 80s, early 80s for a while. It's just such a good song. Say Goodbye, which was another great song off of that album. I believe it was the last track on it. But they were playing most of the songs off of that album. There were a couple of interludes where it's just, instrumental pieces. But they played almost the entire thing. One of the weirdest omissions is the tune All the Way from Never Surrender, which charted either 1 or 2 on the mainstream rock charts, depending on what list you look at. Uh, I'm not sure why that song did so well actually on the mainstream rock charts, because it's not the best Triumph song, but it's probably the most omitted song from any playlist. Because you had Locked in the World of Fantasy, which was awesome, had this awesome intro, and then this guitar part that just was, it's just insane how good it was. Uh, Never Surrender, which just continues the whole Triumph just sound, and then Spellbound and Follow Your Heart were two really big songs, and both of those got significant radio airplay, and I don't think I've heard them since, at least on the radio, since like the 1980s. I believe that was Thunder 7, and that album just kicked some serious butt. Sport of Kings came out next, Somebody's Out There, which was on the top 40. I played it. I remember playing it. Tears in the Rain and Long Time Gone, and then Never Say Never. All of those were released as singles. Some of them did well, some of them didn't do as well, but they're all fantastic tunes. And in '93, they had one last gasp tune called Child of the City. Uh, Look, folks, I don't get it. I say this a lot. I don't get what the deal is with Triumph. Rick Emmett, too optimistic. Uh, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to think what's wrong with Triumph. If you like Rush, Triumph was kind of like the friendly version of Rush. You know what I mean? Rush was a little bit more progressive than Triumph, I guess, in some ways. The lyrics were a little bit more deep and you had to kind of read meaning into it and so forth. But the Triumph stuff is very optimistic, very forward thinking, very interesting, and I'm just still at a loss as to what happened as far as radio programmers today and just their omission. I don't even hear like Magic Power. I don't even hear that. And that's kind of, I guess, their signature song. I guess. I mean, I don't know. In any event here, I'm just curious to what you think about this. A lot of people, I've had people say, I don't like the guy's voice, it's too high. Uh, okay, well, then I guess you don't like Geddy Lee, and there are a number of other people you probably don't like. But this is just a powerhouse band, and as a power trio originally, um, doing what they did and creating the sound that they created. Maybe up in Canada, people are still into Triumph because that's where they're from, hoping because they won a bunch of Junos up there, and they were a big deal from about 79 to 87, and kind of now fallen completely off the map. So the War on Triumph, just another band that we don't get to listen to on the radio anymore. Grab some headphones, run over to YouTube or Spotify, and crank it up, Batman. All right, I'm Dave. This is the Real Music Observer. I'll be back observing more real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. And we'll do it real soon. We'll talk to you then.